Okay, you can go.
Yes. Hi, thanks everyone for coming. My name is Arun. I work at Yahoo. I do Linux engineering there. I've been I've been contributing to Fedora project for like about 5 years. I do mostly I make in packages. So this talk is about an upcoming feature, actually a feature coming to Fedora, and how you can use this feature to quickly deploy operating systems. I'll come why what is the importance of quickly deploying operating system, because most of us do once in a year, and why it needs to be fast. I'll explain why it is. I'll also go through the systems that we use in Yahoo in production. In production machines, and explain what we've been doing there and why we are moving to Anaconda, and how we are working with the Anaconda developers to make things happen. All right. So why deploy operating systems fast? Yahoo has like data centers across the world, and we have like thousands and thousands of servers. We are moving to a model where we do not install applications anymore. We want to move to a model where we entirely wipe the box and install everything at once and just move forward fast. So it's really important that our operating system gets installed on the machine fast, because that's the first thing that gets installed on any machine if you want to bootstrap something. So we want the operating system to be efficient and fast. And let's say your operating system itself takes half an hour, a simple installation takes 30 minutes to pass, and you have a big sporting event coming into Yahoo, and a lot of users are coming to Yahoo, and you want to quickly scale. And there are other technologies available like OpenStack where you can scale things, but let's say you are still running bare metal and you want to quickly deploy operating system on like thousands servers. We need to make it up in like 5 minutes so that we don't lose those users. Users don't see that the performance degradation. So this is also directly relates to our revenue. For example, if the number of users comes to our page and click on ads, see ads, it's directly related to the amount of money that we make. So it's really important that we deploy systems fast and bring up applications fast on a server. So existing installer, here's the story. We do not use Anaconda at all. Even though we have a Red Hat contract, we have a Red Hat installer on production machines. We built 3-4 years ago. We built our own installer. It's a very powerful installer, I would say, and it has the ability to install multiple operating systems, which means it can do previous installations, it can do Linux installations, it can do Windows installations. What could possibly go wrong here? So this is like a one tool that does all these things, but it worked well for us for a while, but it's always a game, right? So operating system is a fast changing landscape. We have new firmware coming in, things like UEFI and things like Grub, and you need to update your operating system installer as well. So as an internet company, we want to focus on different altogether problems. If you're not the problem of creating a new installer and keeping it updated. So, and Anaconda is definitely has matured a lot in recent years, and it has features that we want. So one of the features that was missing in Anaconda was by the time we looked at multiple installers to replace, possibly use an open source installer to replace all the homegrown stuff. Anaconda was missing a feature, especially our homegrown installer. Kind of what it does is you don't give it like an individual RPM to install. We put everything together in a root, we compress it, we create a tarball, and the tarball is the input to the installer. So it does all the partitions and copies all the stuff from the tarball into the bare metal machine. This feature was lacking in Anaconda. It was not lacking, it was not directly there. So, but we kind of saw it coming into Anaconda in like this year, and we adapted it fast. So why Anaconda? So this is like a, yeah, this guy is there and this guy is there.
I'm not wearing the same clothes.
Let's all stand up. Hey.
Yeah. And thank you for doing all the hard work. I mean, they are like definitely really bright people. They know what they are doing. And the Anaconda is developed in the open source, so it's possible for us to look at the code. If you want some feature, we add to it instead of developing our own installer and keep maintaining it. So that's first, and kickstart files is the second. So anyone new employee comes into Yahoo, our own installer has its own format. So how do we partition the system, how do we configure it, and we have this big YAML file that the user has to understand and see how this works. And that doesn't make sense because this guy knows already Kickstart outside. He's from a startup and he already uses Kickstart. But why should we learn a new thing to come into Yahoo? So this is one of the motivations for switching to Anaconda. And built-in support for ILVM, RAID, and Anaconda has like thousands of features and all of that. So that makes sense. And another important thing is UEFI secure boot. So we have a lot of hardware vendors. We've been talking to the people who provide service to Yahoo. They've been telling us that the CSM mode in the firmware, UEFI firmware, will go away soon. So we gotta make sure that we could deploy operating systems if the CSM mode goes away. So right now the installer that we have built in-house doesn't support UEFI and all this. So, but Anaconda supports creating the UEFI system partition, doing all the groundwork for us. So it kind of makes sense just to use something that is available, readily available, and maintained by right people than trying to build and hack stuff in-house. Sorry. So Anaconda improvements. So before going to Anaconda, I have to just give you, people who are not Anaconda developers, I have to give you some perspective about what goes on in Anaconda. So Anaconda has a concept called payloads. So right now they have a RPM payload, which obviously is used to install RPMs on the machine. And there is a new payload called DNF payload, which is for DNF. And then there is even a new payload called RPM OS3, that's for the OS3. And there is another important payload called live image payload. That's for your live images. Basically, the live images payload, live images payload used to support squashfs files. Basically, if you give a squashfs file to the live images payload, you kind of extract the thing, does its magic, and gives you the install the stuff from the squashfs image. So while looking at it, so I was going through Anaconda's mailing list and trying to find out, okay, how to do this, because we cannot just individually install RPMs because it's waste of time for us, because we wanted to just compress everything into a single tarball, and we want Anaconda to install that tarball. So that's the plan. So we looked at the payloads, and there was this star payload. It was done like long time ago, but it was not very well hooked up into Anaconda. It's there. It's just a stale code there, and it's not hooked up at all. So, and second one is the live image payload. As I mentioned, it supports your live images. So you can boot your live CD. I think live CD has a squashfs image. Anaconda will install that squashfs image. So I think BCL, I've been working with BCL for a while, and he's amazing. And you should probably give him a pro. He's not here?
No, he's he works out of near Seattle, but he did not come to this show.
Okay. Yeah, so he's amazing. Thanks.
Yeah. I'll pass on the information.
In the March 2014, he added a feature. So he extended the live image payload, which used to support squashfs images, to support all the tarballs. So, for example, you can now specify a tarball instead of a squashfs image. It's a simple feature. He added like a bunch of like 20, 30, 40, 50 lines of code, just to support all this stuff. So now Anaconda has now the ability to install tarballs. So this is what we needed because we want to have the feature parity with the old installer so that we can justify switching to Anaconda to our management. And this feature, so this was not in RHEL 7. We have a Red Hat contract, obviously. So I sent a mail, a support request, and then talked to BCL. So he kind of provided a patch to us, and we built Anaconda, stage to everything, and we tested it in our environment. And things broke. We found some bugs, and then he again fixed and gave us a patch, and things are working now. So this is coming soon in RHEL 7. I cannot tell you when it will come, but yes.
Is it in Fedora?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's my talk. I'm gonna show you how to do that in Fedora. Yeah. It's in Fedora 21. It's landed. Yeah. So it's coming soon. Yeah, my demo is on Fedora. I'm not doing RHEL 7 demo. It's not released at all. So it's a test thing in our production service. So how to do how to use this feature? This Anaconda's Kickstart documentation has been now updated. You can actually see from Anaconda 21.14 something. You can now specify this URL option and then specify a tarball. So basically, it will just download the tarball and extract the image on the disk. So something to do. So this is very simple. So this is all you have. You don't need to specify RPMs in your repo list. And we have after using this features, we have a lot of feature requests for the Anaconda team. We bug you with a lot of support requests in the feature. So this tarball, again, this is a tarball, but Anaconda needs some tools to work. For example, once Anaconda extracts this tarball, it roots into that new extracted machine and runs some commands. For example, to install a user, it needs to run argconfig. If you have RAID, it needs to run MD-LVM, and LVM, you need LVM tools and stuff. So you have to build your tarball with all these tools. If you're using that particular feature of Anaconda, you need to have the tools in the tarball. So we had a minimal image which had 100 packages, and then Anaconda would just break. I mean, we would weird error messages, and then we would discover that we are missing a particular argconfig or LVM tools in the image. So that's one of the considerations you have to follow before creating a tarball of your image. So to create a tarball, all you have to do is you can use Mark or even use Yum and install all the things in a root and compress it, and you have a tarball. So this is the installation time. Payload size of 250 MB, so the 250 MB is your tarball size. It took 1 minute 55 seconds to install, which means pretty fast. I mean, I haven't seen, if you use the traditional installation methods, it takes 30 minutes, at least 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But 1 minute, 55 seconds is a drastically reduced time. So we can bring up our servers fast, and we can just serve the traffic almost in max 5 minutes. That's good enough for us. So other tweaks, we do not use graphical UI because these are all data center machines. We don't probe the video hardware. It takes time. We use the TUI, and thanks to TUI support, it's nice. Have TUI support on Anaconda, and we also reduce the payload size. So this is our kind of an architecture. So right now we have these legacy systems that uses this old installer uses this YAML file, just like Kickstart file, to define partitions. We have kind of a PyKickstart magic CGI script that kind of magically converts the old format into Kickstart files. So that's the web service. So we have a database of, we have a proprietary database of machines. That's the hardware DB. And the user selects what kind of partition profile and disk they want, and we reboot the machine using IPMA or something, and the Pixie and DSCP serves the machine, and Anaconda comes up here, and the Kickstart is generated by the Kickstart service, and it it's all automatically generated. So we are doing this as a service because we have some machines doing UEFI, some machines doing bias boot. So the partition, for example, if you're doing RHEL 7, one of the things you have to remember is you need to create that bias boot partition if you're doing a GPT partition table, and it's all
big
like,
disks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our Kickstart file has that, Kickstart web service has that intelligence to how to partition a system. If it is a, I don't know, we haven't like exactly tried the UEFI yet. I don't know whether the Anaconda installers automatically creates the ESP. It does?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. We don't have to worry about this then. Yeah. So this is architecture kind of, and like I couldn't like put in like our official names because they didn't want it to. Yeah. So all right, demo time. So I have for this demo I have set up a Pixie and DHCP server on my laptop, and I have Anaconda stage 2, which is from Fedora 21 on a web server, and I have a root tarball, which is again Fedora 21, which is the pre-release version. I'm going to Pixie boot and show you the installation. It will take less than 1 minute, so please bear with me. Okay.
Pete, will it auto-create an ESP if you're using a Kickstart?
What is that?
I was just wondering, I don't think it would do it if you're using a Kickstart.
If you're using Kickstart, no, you're just going to specify it.
I am using Kickstart.
Yeah, so
Then, yeah, you're going to need
you're gonna have the
DSP and
same
Kickstart.
problem you have with bias-boot partitions. I remember there was a feature request from someone a while back for like a Kickstart directive to handle mandatory partitions, and I wonder if that might be a useful thing for you guys. Because then you could specify the real partitions you want and say to Kickstart, just create BIOS boot if it's necessary, or create ESP if it's necessary.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah,
good
that
idea.
would be awesome.
That's a pretty good idea.
Like,
That wouldn't be hard to do at all.
No, that's more like a.
Because we have the code, we just don't have a Kickstart directive. That
Like you're still doing.
It's a partial auto part.
Right,
Yeah.
you're saying, well, automatically do, partitioning, but I at least want these 3.
Yeah.
And
That
I don't
should be
care
pretty
what.
easy to do.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, so that bias boot partition stuff, that
Yeah.
probably has to be automated because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that hard to detect that you are doing GPT.
Yeah, no,
we have the
it's
code
true.
already, it's
Yeah.
just a question of hooking up a Kickstart directive.
Yeah.
Because if you use the graphical installer and
Then
you can
that's
say
what we're
make my
doing, yeah.
partitions, it does that for
So
you.
it's exactly the same.
Surely a case of
It's exactly the same case as if you do in the GUI, if you do partition for me, but show me, give me a chance to change it, right? And then you add 3 partitions for home or whatever,
Yes.
right? It's exactly that, except in Kickstart.
Okay.
That should be pretty easy.
So right now, if you don't create a bias boot partition, it kind of stops there. The text-based
Yeah.
installer stops there. Okay, there's no bias boot partition.
You need to do
create.
this, yeah.
Yeah, but you can do it in a data center. That's the thing.
Right.
We want to automate
So,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
we should do that.
we should talk about that.
Good things are coming. Thank you. Now I can go back to Yahoo and tell them, okay, you sponsor my trial and it's awesome.
Totally worth it. You can show them the video.
Yeah. All right. So I have a demo coming up. So, oh my God, how do I see this?
It's okay.
yeah, we can see.
Just larger font.
Yeah. No, I can't see anything there.
Oh, so you're in. If you switch the background of your.
I'm going to just mirror it.
It's not a note, it's
We're
over there.
almost there. There you go.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
don't die on me.
There it goes.
There.
All right. Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
So I have a network configuration that's set up for TFTP and things. Okay, so I have a boot P. Basically, if you pixie boot your VM, it will serve this pixelines.0, and the TFTP root is like bar.lib TFTP root. So I'm gonna pixie boot. I have a disk image created already, so I'm gonna just directly pixie boot my word install. I'm doing Fedora 21. So the kickstart file is somewhere here. So I'll show the kickstart file. And as you can see, so the kickstart file now uses a live image, and it points to the web server running on my Fedora laptop. And I'm going to create a VM with Fedora 21 pre-release. Okay, go to install. Alright. So it's pixie booting, basically. I think this is a very nice feature if you want to install operating system fast, because all the work is done. Because RPM verification, and it takes a lot of time. Now, okay, it's downloading Kickstart. Is anyone timing it?
I am.
Oh my god, I will stop.
Timing it. Why would we do that?
You can always say they'll go faster on bare metal.
No, I think it's stuck now. Very good. Demo's stuck.
Well, it's a virtual machine.
No, I think it's fine.
No, it's not. I think it's a bug. I have reported. It's a pre-release. If your disk is not clean, it kind of gets stuck. It never starts the installation.
All right, so go to TTY2, clean the disk, and reboot it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
We'll even start
real time.
Yeah, please revert us.
Because you're at a minute 9.
He's actually right into the code that you're hitting, trying to walk about this morning.
Once
again, I hope this time works. It's pre-release, so I can.
It's always good to have demo on pre-release.
Yeah,
You always have a
This is how we roll a flop.
Doing demos isn't hard enough. Let's use a pre-release.
What could possibly
We go wrong.
And Dan Walsh had kernel panic during his demo of SNL. But he had rawhide on his laptop too.
He always does wrong.
Right? Wow.
The way he rolls.
That's how you know he's serious.
Start.
There we go.
Okay. So it's downloading the tar.gc.
It's informative.
Yeah, it's very informative. And it's just taking out copying things.
Yeah.
So the only slow part is the RAM disk generation. So it roots into the thing and generates the RAM disk.
Blame Drake.
Yeah, Drake.
Definitely blame Drake. Drake it's going to be like 20% of your time or 30% of your time here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go. You want to go for a walk?
So that's the max time.
You know, that used to be a lot slower. No.
Okay.
No.
I kicked Harold lots.
Oh, okay. I've been used to it longer since.
It used to be over 40 seconds.
Not bad.
But still, if you watch top, they are not using parallel compression all the
Yeah, I
time.
know.
Sometimes they just run XZ instead
Well,
of.
that's not even most of their I/O though.
But they integrated your patch or not? Is this parallel?
But would it be faster if you start not Not zip
We have
tar,
like
but
six
just
breakup
tar.
buttons, which are things that you can
can't
strip.
do
No, it's decompression is really fast.
It works.
I
but
keep
it's
telling you,
fast.
That was nice.
Fedora.
In a minute.
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 1 second.
2 minutes. Oh,
At least I know.
We should average it out.
No, 150.
Okay, yeah, it depends on when we started and stuff.
yeah.
I'm just curious, what's in the tarball?
Oh, it's the minimal image of Fedora. It's 250 MB in size. I mean, even if you increase to double, it probably will take extra 10 to 20 seconds because it's the download time and the copying time.
How big is it if you uncompress it?
What's DF say?
Yeah. How big is the image if you
The
uncompress it?
DF
Oh, I
system.
on the okay.
Yeah.
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 I do not have a user account installed here.
It's a preview, it's a preview.
But you have
It's okay.
root account and root password.
I don't have a root password either. I mean, it's
There was a password in the file.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's encrypted.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, it's encrypted. but-
Did that patch,
Try
that,
Anaconda.
the patch which lets you get away with this hasn't landed yet, so you've got one or the other.
Yeah,
Nope.
but you don't know what the password is.
Master Yahoo.
It's probably Red Hat.
My test password is 111111.
That's very secure.
All right, so we'll change it. If you start reinstall and show us, it's fast.
Maybe I should extract the tarball.
So logging in takes longer than installing this.
Well, if you've got to brute force it, yeah.
I can extract and find out.
You can try and guess it.
libguessable. Yeah.
And put
Probably.
So part of what you're dominated on is actually the tarball size, right? Like the downloading the tarball is a big chunk of it.
Yes.
Have you considered doing something like using PyKickstart and Blivit to determine what utilities you actually need in the tarball dynamically?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Oh, so far it's been trial and error.
Okay, because Blivit has on all the storage types, it has annotations for what utilities you actually need, so that it can add them into the package set. And you can totally use that with PyKickstart and run the Kickstart
That's
separated from that.
Like if you do an installation and you pick a specific file system type, and make sure you get those tools.
Okay.
So that's the dynamic part, and then you have the static set like needing auth config,
Yeah.
and a handful of other things.
Okay.
But like if that Kickstart doesn't use that storage, you can possibly generate the tarball that you're going to use with it because they're a matching pair, right?
Yes.
You can probably do that through using PyKickstart and Blivit to determine what you actually need in that package set
Okay. That's a good one.
and shave some space, some
Yeah.
bytes off.
How big is the tarball right now?
Right now 250.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around 250.
250 what?
Megabytes.
Right, so is what, like 100 megs of that glibc localization data?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's terrible. So as the glibc team lead, like
That he's
really,
just not
really-
using too.
So someone from Anaconda who's here answered the question. We had a discussion about lang install to feed from Anaconda down to glibc during the image creation, so that glibc only installs the set of languages that you actually wanted to minimize the locale archive. Who did that? I thought someone told me that lang install is now a variable that gets passed down from Anaconda. Is that true? I'd have to test
If
it.
it's not, that doesn't sound
There
like
is
it's
a
very
bug
difficult.
that is closed as it working, and I think that it doesn't work, but I haven't actually paid attention because
Okay,
images
so
are
I'll
being
put it in the
downloaded.
FY15 work plan to basically work through that because we're going to sub-package all the locales. Well, what I think the process will be is the locales will be sub-packaged and Anaconda will feed the image creation process. We'll set lang install. glibc will install a single image so that locale archive is basically just like a meg or something
Sure.
rather than the 150 megs that it is right now.
That's amazing.
That sounds great.
For the minimal install, our 4 top things are kernel modules, documentation, language, actually not in that order, language, documentation,
Well,
and Python.
So the other problem, the other thing, the easier solution is if you don't care about languages, you only want C and POSIX locales. They're built in, and so you can just delete the locale archive, and everything works normally.
We need something UTF-8.
Don't you still need the GCOM things?
The modules there aren't that big in terms of install. The largest thing is the 150 megs of locale archive.
Okay, you don't need the strings.
Right, yeah.
Or if we get
Yes.
UTF-8,
Because the strings will
we'll
look
do
at
that, but if we don't, then
Okay, so do you need UTF-8?
I do.
I doubt if he does.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't, but I do.
Okay. So the problem with UTF-8 is that
The
the
intention is to
I'll let everyone talk over.
payload.
Yeah,
But anyways, we've got
it's really building to answer the question.
Yeah, I won't be including that. I can clean it up.
So
yeah.
new kernel,
Yeah.
Josh could work on the kernel.
So I'm curious what the actual.
That's the good part. But not part of the paperwork.
And install like that's the blocker there. Previously the docs are available, but we're going to be less.
Yeah.
So I really love the new top floor, but those top.
Can I ask a question about image?
Now here I'm sitting right next.
Arun.
The question, we now have like 3 minimal images in Fedora. We have Fedora base minimal something, Fedora cloud minimal something, and this is third Fedora minimal something, which is different from all the others.
This is
Do we
Compass
have
minimal.
plans to like have the unified Fedora minimal something? No? So do you use the same as the cloud image uses the base for Fedora, or you use different?
So, I can show you how I created this image.
That's quite nice.
Or I can show like what are the RPMs that were installed here. So basically, these are the RPMs that were installed. We have like around 255 RPMs, and it's yeah. So basically, group install. Minimal dot. It's a small kind of make file that our engineer put together to create this tarball. Basically, it installs group installs minimal install group and .2 kernel LVM MDA ADM and config. And it doesn't have anything fancy, but so this is what goes into the image.
I mean, you just need an image that boots up and that you can SSH into.
Yes. Yes.
But it's the same as cloud image.
Right, yeah.
So you
It's very similar.
Can you use the same Kickstarter as for cloud image here, or just to generate this terminal?
Cloud images, people normally don't install anything. Install the QCOW image, it's pre-installed this image, right?
Yeah, but it's made from Kickstarter, and it has the list of packages, so you can just take this Kickstarter to the tarball.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a part, and this, when you're talking about doing images, they're different. So
Yeah, but then-
But the base list of packages should be the same.
The output's
Different.
different.
The output's
but,
different, but it's just a format change.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to keep the different lists of
Yeah.
minimal sets of packages. You
Yeah.
can just merge and
And
use one.
Yeah, and in fact, instead of doing the tool that I was typing earlier, you can just use, you could think about making it so that the Anaconda's image generation can generate a tarball, and that would just save you a step.
Add an artifact
Yeah.
for the generation step.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Lot of good ideas, thank you.
Generate cloud images as tarball.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Definitely.
Nice.
I love this dog.
Don't tell Spot.
Alright, any questions?
Wait, bring it back. I want Anaconda.
I'm not sure.
That should be in our F21 Anaconda installer.
Does it already have the code?
So do you think?
I don't think we can legally ship that.
It says we have to.
Yeah, Cobbler is definitely, we have a destination
Yeah.
infrastructure for Pixie and CPP and proprietary hardware.
It's not
service.
copyrighted if we make
Of course,
Right.
we can.
You will probably need some additional plugin composer.
Richard said, I don't want to walk down to Richard's office and ask him.
I
do.
The basic is the same, but you need some additional storage profiling.
Is still remember the ASCII.
Any more questions?
I think we've covered that.
How do you build the actual tarball? So let's say if you decide to go for the next minor release or whatsoever, you recreate tarball.
Yes. So our OS releases are tarball releases. Our operating system releases are tarball releases.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we just release a tarball, and it's lives somewhere, and somebody clicks a button on a web UI, and it automatically downloads the tarball.
Okay.
So is the tool you use to create the tarball open, or is it?
No. It's just a make file that does YAML. It's not open. It's a make file that uses
Complicated, doesn't sound like.
Yeah. It's not complicated. Yeah.
So, I mean, you talked at the start that you had one awesome installer that was installing all kinds of OSs. How does this this type of installation now fit into your picture with your Windows and Mac OS and whatever installations that you do? Do you want to just replace the Linux part now with what you're doing here? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
This will most probably replace the Linux part, and we'll probably also do the same thing for RHEL 6, because RHEL 6 right now being installed by the old installer. We got to do something because UEFI is coming. Yeah.
Okay.
And after unpacking and installing the tarball, you're just doing the regular post-install scripts like registering the system to somewhat and run Puppet, whatever.
Yes, we can. We do that. Yes. We have our custom post-install script that does all kind of manage that, all the configuration management. I mean, one of the feature requests I had was you cannot use multiple methods in Anaconda. For example, this is like a live image payload method. But if you try to install packages right now, this will just blow up. Like for example, I want to install this tarball. Apart from that, I want to also install some RPMs after that.
Yeah.
And
well, you don't have any repos at that
You
point,
can do
right?
that in the post section.
PostScript is cheating.
Stop that! Stop that!
yeah, you can do that in PostScript, yes.
Sorry. You wouldn't want to know what we do in post.
Indeed.
So any more questions?
Maybe you can also like download the tarball in parallel if you have enough RAM. Make it even faster.
Yeah.
Well, how do we speed up the Drake part? That was so fun.
And thanks everyone.
The way you
By the way,
do
you need to generate the init RAM as a dog?
The way you generate, you could.
You think I shouldn't be generating in terms of at all?
If it is in the tarball, do you need?
Yeah, I don't need that at all. Yeah, if it's a generic RAM disk, I can just put it in that. Yeah.
We are doing because of the keyboards actually, because of host only.
Yeah, I know, but
don't do that. Don't do that. Run Anaconda one time to generate the image you're going to do it off of. Tar that up after running Drake it in a vert machine. That's your tarball. You don't need to run Drake it again. They're all going to be the same.
But we would need. It needs some support in Anaconda because we do it automatically at the moment, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. If there's a way to disable that, and we include the generic RAM disk inside the.
Like a free line page.
Yeah, if we could just say grab the RAM disk from the tarball,
yes,
you're done.
Yeah, sure. So
that.
So it will be like maybe 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, would you be able to give me some samples of the kickstart you're using? Because I'm interested in getting better testing of the kickstart directives that people are really using. So if you could maybe give me some information on the stuff you're using, because right now we do very minimal kickstart testing, and I'd like to expand that out, but I'd like to make it useful to people.
Definitely, we have 108 variation of kickstarts.
Okay.
And I had to write code to convert them from the old format to the new format.
Right.
Yeah, so I can definitely help you out.
Sure, I'll talk to you afterwards.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Alright. Thank you everyone. I'll be here. You can ask me a question. Thank you.
Thank you.